Today we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic, cohabitation, which is the living together of couples to be before the remarriage and having sexual intercourse. According to the definition I have here, it says the state of living together and having sexual intercourse without being married. Do you agree that couples should cohabitate before marriage? Or you don't agree? So I'll start from my... Last time I started from Dio, I'm going to start from...
It's a yes and it's a no.
Wow.
You know, because if you look at it from the religious perspective, religions, Christianity or Islam, does not encourage people to live together before getting married. From that perspective, I would say no. Then, also, I can also argue that no, from a different perspective of, it is almost, you get to know each other and you find out so much about each other that you don't like or you probably like, and that also could become a problem moving forward. And a yes, in the sense that it also gives you the opportunity to, you know, get to know this person more and see the beautiful side of this person, and decide if you want to go into marriage from there on or not. You know, so for me, it's a yes and no.
Okay. So
can I put you on the spot, actually?
Yeah, sure.
If you have to make one choice, like yes or no, or if you have to make a preference, which one would you take?
Okay.
Personally,
I would like to cohabit before getting married, but I also have to be aware of the disadvantage in it, because when you live together and you not get to know each other to a certain level, you might not be encouraged to go all the way through to marriage.
I am in favor of cohabitation, and for the number one reason why I'm in favor for cohabitation is something I call damage control. I think I would rather not go ahead with the wedding than go ahead with the wedding and end up getting divorced. And so cohabitation will give me the opportunity to know more about the person I'm dating. And if I'm not happy with what I see, with the situation, or maybe she's not happy with what she sees, because you know we'll definitely discover a lot about each other. A lot of hidden things will come out for sure, guaranteed. And maybe she's not happy with what she sees, and she's not happy, or I'm not happy with what I see. Then that gives us the opportunity to, if we cannot come to a conclusion or come to, what's the word again? Compromise. Thank you. Come to a compromise, then we can walk away. But to me, I think it's more painful if we go into marriage, not knowing all this stuff, and we cannot come to a compromise at the time, and we end up going our separate ways. I think that's more painful.
Your concern is you want to know this person before going into marriage.
I'm not saying
so
that's my concern. I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's my concern.
Okay.
I said I would, if given a choice,
you will
between getting married, finding out some stuff that I don't like eventually, and after a while we couldn't work things out based on what I find out. Getting divorced to me is more painful because the divorce might not come from me.
Okay, what I can hear you say is, you would rather prefer to have the opportunity to know everything about this person by living together before going into marriage.
It just like you can never know everything anyway.
Or to know,
that's number one.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily have to cohabit to be able to know that person before getting married. Because while you're in a relationship, you are dating, whether she lives in a house, you live in your house, she comes to your place, spend a couple of days, you are still learning something about this person.
I could be pretending.
Yes, well,
I could be pretending. I could be pretending to be someone I'm not. I could be pretending you're not there. I know when you come in. Even if you have a key to my place,
yeah,
I
but
could still be with
I think I would rather stand for not cohabiting before marriage.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I strongly agree.
Madam Patient wants to contribute.
Well, both have pros and cons. But personally, I will not be with a man before marriage. I will not, based on my own personal values. It's like test. Like you test running a relationship before going into it. It doesn't mean that it will be successful if you know everything. There's so much deeper things to know or think about before going into a relationship. But to me, based on my own value and the excitement, you already killed the excitement of a newly married. Like, you know, like when I was a child, as a child, I was like, oh my God, I will hug my husband this way. I will, you know, you're dreaming your dream about getting married. You already killed it because you already have everything. You're living together. Then it's just go and sign papers. Is that all marriage is all about? There is excitement that comes with new married, you know, new couples. You know, when you get to know each other, you already killed it. You're just signing a paper and then you're going back. So there's no more excitement. So to me, even my own daughter, I will advise, please don't. Because, I mean, I just want to have that, I want to be excited. You know, I know people say you get to know each other. You might stay with a man 20 years, a woman with for 1 year, 10 years, I still don't know that person. So personally, I disagree.
But you can also lose excitement in the marriage. Let's say they did not cohabit. They go into the marriage. After a couple of years, the excitement can also go down. Regardless. So whether there's cohabitation or there's no cohabitation,
anything now,
excitement can still be lost. The only thing you're saying is that you lost the excitement. Fine, you lost the excitement before going into the marriage. But what happens when you go to the marriage too? You've called everybody from the village. You've advertised everything. People have come from far and near to come to you to the wedding. The wedding is all over the world. It's well known, right? And then all of a sudden now you have to face the same people after a couple of years and say, you know what, we couldn't make things work. To me, I think it's just more painful.
marriage is not a bed of roses. Every relationship comes with its own things, right? So whether you live 2 years together before getting married, I hear people say, no, we've been dating, we've been living together 10 years, now we decided to, okay, fine, that works for you. But like I said, personally, due to my own value, where I come from, and my own, you know, the way I look at things, I want to be able to see my man, you know, like you're excited, you're seeing this man, like where's the excitement if you are living with a man for 10 years?
No, I think we're not talking about
or 2 years, 1 year, 8 months.
Okay, now let me
The
just
excitement is gone.
let me
Just to ask this question,
It's my value.
if for example, Mr. Dio,
Yeah.
you meet a woman and she's a Christian, you love her so dearly,
That's right.
and her values, she's going to tell you that I'm not going to live with you, I'm not going to do anything with you until the marriage is done, or until you pay my bride price and then propose and so on. So I mean, we know that you pay the bride price and so on. Will you go ahead with that marriage?
I respect the values. That doesn't mean, I'm not saying I must cohabit. I'm saying if given the option between cohabitation before marriage or not, I would rather cohabit before marriage, if given the option. I think this is the point of this discussion. Right? So if that is what she wants, I would definitely respect her values and respect her beliefs. And I'm not going to say that's the end of the relationship just because she says she doesn't want it.
She doesn't want it.
Right?
Okay, because that question is, will you go ahead with the marriage without you?
If I'm in love
because
with them,
looking at the definition of cohabitation, right? Cohabitation is living together and having a sexual relationship. That's one. Hold on. You could also not be cohabiting
and have sexual
and
relationship.
still be having sexual. So we have two things here. We're having a sexual relationship, but we're not living together. We are living together and we're having sexual relationship. So the question you ask is, would you now go ahead to marry this woman who is going to tell you, because of our religious belief, you cannot
Cohabitate.
have that sexual relationship before getting married, would you?
Not only sexual relationship, live together.
No, I'm just saying both sides, whether live together or outside cohabit.
But you love her.
Let's
You
say
love
they
At the
cohabit.
end of the day, it comes down to love. That's
Okay,
that's
well,
what it is.
well,
Whether you
very-
cohabit or you do not cohabit, at the end of the day, it comes down to love. That's it. So if she says she is not willing to cohabit, I'm not gonna say, hey Dale, you know what? That is the end of this relationship. This is totally nonsense. It's not acceptable. She doesn't want what I don't. She doesn't want what I want. And to clarify again, if given a choice,
He said love proceeds. If he
Okay,
loves the
love-
girl, he will go ahead.
Okay, if you love the girl,
Yeah.
you will then okay. Because I thought I heard you say earlier on that it's better for you to know a lot about this person than to go into the relationship and finding out
it's
stuff.
always better to know.
Because
who-
because at the end of the day,
yes,
you if you don't know each other so deeply in terms of emotional connection
yeah,
or sexual connection,
yes.
you can also still break out of that relationship
Absolutely.
after the marriage.
I
So
agree.
so are we saying that you don't have to experience any of these before going to a marriage, or it is
Depends on the values of the person. If you are a Christian, you are not supposed to have a sexual intercourse or live together. You can know this girl by dating her. How do you date her? Take her to the restaurant, not to your bedroom. If your plan is to marry the girl, in my religion, Christianity, you are not supposed to sleep with the girl. If you love her, research her family, you can know her by going out to the movies, bring her back home, not to your house. So, and at the end of the day, and I think this is really a good way of setting your marriage with respect and so on. But this is my personal values, and this is what I stand for. I will not allow my daughter to live with a man before marriage. And to you, I also respect your opinion. When you live with a man for 2 years or for 5 months, you take away the excitement of marriage. Apart from my belief of not living together, no sexual intercourse before marriage, that is what I believe in, that is what the Bible says. But women should understand, if you give everything, what do you have to give in marriage? Marriage is a beautiful thing. You cook for him, you clean for him. Now you are assuming the right of a wife when you are not married to him. So if he goes out and come back, you want to know where he went to. He might even turn and look at you. I'm not even married to you yet. What's the problem? So this is hard because you are not defining it. You have to define your position. It's not try and error. You've looked at her, you've researched her family, you've seen her values. If he agrees with you, you proceed and marry the girl. That's how I look at it. Because this is not fair for both sides.
Okay, well, I understand the point that you're trying to say, but we also have to understand that time has evolved. We cannot continue to look at this the way that they were done back in our mother's time, because how our mother, persevered back in the days, the millennials or in present times might not necessarily want to persevere, because there's something that has to be in context, because there's a risk in a man and a woman not knowing each other very, 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 very well, deep.
When you mean very, very, very well,
Very well.
is it the living together part of it, or is the sexual part of it?
Yeah, sexual part of it, because there's a risk to it, or even on the woman's side. In our earlier episode, we talked about infidelity. Okay, you meet a man, you decide to go into this marriage with this man. You don't even know if he's a real man, if he functions or he doesn't function. And now the marriage is done. You are in a marriage relationship. What is the woman going to be? What is going to be her expectation? What happens at that point in time? I do understand religious affiliation to this kind of subject, but we also have to be realistic.
So personally, like I said, I would not encourage living together or sexual intercourse before marriage. You can know this girl by asking about her. You've seen her family, you've seen the type of person she is, friends she move with. You ask about her. You can take her to lunch, you can take her to movies. Don't just take her to your house. And when the time comes, if you are ready for marriage, you go ahead and propose, speak to the father. This is how it is done. The respectable way that it is done. This is my own values regarding cohabitation.
Yeah, I mean, well, that sounds as beautiful as that sounds. You know, I think that there's a lot of risk to it. You know, because if you are not going, for us to go by the definition of cohabiting, which means having sexual relationship, and if you decide to dive into the marriage without first and foremost having that emotional connection, then in after marriage, and you now find out that the man is not even is not active, then that could bring a whole lot of crisis. So it's the reason why, you know, one could make an argument that it is good for you to cohabit and like you should have deeply to that point that you truly want to be married and live together as husband and wife.
That is so true. That is true, but still, yes, maybe in terms of test driving, let me use the word test. You know,
Test driving.
yes, test driving. You know, you want to try what you're getting into. If it's a Mercedes or Lexus or whatever. You know, it's very important. You know. However, I will not cohabit. That's my own point. There's two things here where we're talking about, you know, getting involved sexually and living together. Cohabitation, right?
Yeah, that's the definition.
So I know it from a religious perspective, we are not supposed to do it. Okay? But like for me, that it's kind of controversial. Like it's difficult. I will tell you that.
Yes.
But personally, I would not like to cohabit before I marry.
This is
But then
2018.
a lot of problems might arise if you don't know who you're getting into. Like Mr. Brown said,
Right.
said that if you don't test it, it might.
I mean, you get it. No, not necessarily test it. You want to get to know each other very deeply. You know, because that quality time that you spend together, you know.
Watching movies, having dinner,
talking
to each other.
Yeah, right. That part of it, but
I think even,
But you can do that
if
even without living together.
questions about your sexual ability, she can just ask you, like, how is your health issues? I mean, there's a way you can ask that question. You don't need to really test drive it. You don't need to feel it. Because if that is your value, there is no sexual intercourse, there is no living together. This is my values. After the marriage, I will sleep.
I think
You understand?
But what if this man is lying? I know I'm against it. But when you say you don't have, you ask questions. Asking questions.
But the thing is this, right? We also have to put into consideration. We have to be able to, because age also is important in this whole subject. You know, a grown-up girl, a grown-up lady, who's ripe for marriage, and there is a man who's ready for marriage, and she wants to start preaching this old we cannot cohabit before marriage. How does that sound? How does it sound good? How does it
It's
sound?
not values. She's not preaching it.
Well, but the thing is this: we have to be realistic. There are things that you know probably happened in maybe the time of our mother. But we're in a different era today.
We have some people who are
But you
doing
have-
abstinence right now. We
Yeah,
have some people.
But if a young girl grows up,
they're abstinent. So they are married.
a young girl that is 18, 19 in her prime age, find a young man, maybe 2 years apart, and they've known each other from high school and they want to get married. Okay, maybe that could work, you know. But there are concerns which we need to pay attention to. But we're talking about marriage. Marriage, you are grown up. Because the age of 18, 19, you're still not like really ready to get married.
You know what?
When you are grown up, an adult, you're done with school, you are grown up, it's time for you to get married.
That's right.
Between the man and the woman.
But that doesn't mean that you have to live together.
No, wait.
Because if that man loves you so much,
Yeah.
they will come for you because you cannot live.
No, I'm not saying living.
Because
So my
you are right
argument,
for marriage.
my argument right now is not so much about living together.
Okay.
My argument right now is the definition of cohabitation, cohabiting. That is having sexual relationship living together before marriage. That's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, you need to have sexual connection.
You can do that
Before-
even without cohabitating.
Yeah, without living together. Okay, well that's just what I just wanted to
So your
understand.
stand on this is that you can let go of living together, but you still want to have that sexual.
Of course, at the end of the day, it's not even on both sides. Both of us need to know how much we are sexually, attractive to each other to be able to go for that relationship. It does not necessarily need to be so good because
So
we can always
I'm going to
improve.
ask you the same question I asked Mr. Dyer. If you meet a young, beautiful woman and said, Brian, I'm not going to live with you, I'm not going to have sexual intercourse with you because I'm abstinent, I haven't done this all my life. I will only do this after I'm married. What would you do?
You didn't put that question to me like that.
That what?
That was you didn't bring the sex thing like that.
And everyone around have said to you, this girl, she's a choir mistress, she does her things, she have a degree, she's from this house, this is her values, the whole world knows she's not that kind
Accidents
of
and
person.
everything will reflect
Yes.
that. Shall
Yeah,
not-
so what-
if I sexually find her attractive, I think I will marry her.
Beautiful.
If we have to be very honest about
Yeah.
this topic,
Mm.
the sexual angle, then we have to consider a lot of factors. This is, like I said, this is 2018. The 21st century.
The word of God
it's
has
coming
not changed in
to an
2018
end.
though. It's still the same
And that's why-
values that we all have.
And that's why I said if
So
we have
depends
to
on
look
your
at it
values,
for- That's
definitely,
right.
yeah.
It definitely depends on your values. Because I have seen a lot of my guy friends that have said, in actual fact, most of them do not want to marry a virgin.
That's a different topic.
Okay. Most of them do not want to marry. So if the girl is telling them that, oh, you know what, you have to wait until after marriage, I believe most of them will walk away.
I
Or
think it's
if they
easier
don't walk away,
if both
they
of
will
you have the
probably-
same values though. It's easier.
That's right. That's exactly where I'm trying to
Everything
go.
boils down
The
to
two of them
values.
have to have the same values.
Yeah.
That's the only way this is gonna work. Because if you two of them don't have the same values, then I'm really sorry, something would happen. It's either the guy pretends and say, oh no, don't worry, I'm gonna wait, but then behind that, what's he doing?
Depends on his values.
That's right.
Yeah,
He might be doing nothing.
Yeah, that is very correct, because sometimes we always want to talk about all these values and try to hold on to it very strongly in our views, but how often do we actually practice these values? How often are we being realistic about these values?
That's right.
Because we live in a society whereby a lot of things have changed. And everyone just want to try to meet up to social expectation, that societal expectation, but it's not the reality. But you want to know what the reality is before actually getting involved into anything very, very seriously. So
Like I said before, the word of God has not changed. We can be in 2018, 2020, there are still women, men who practice abstinence. So living together, sexual intercourse is something of a value.
I don't think there's any. I don't
Yeah.
think, excuse me. I don't think there's any scripture in the Bible actually that says that you.
My brother, don't let us go
Because
to the scriptures.
fornication
Fornication is well documented.
Yeah,
in the Bible.
fornication is well documented because the
Yes.
Bible is don't differentiate. We're talking about morality and immorality. Now, how do we define morality and immorality? Depends on the people that are involved in the definition of what morality is. If I meet a girl, she likes me, we like each other, and we are having connection, we are seeing it. We don't see it as something immoral. You looking at it from the outside, you are the one who is seeing it as immoral, and you are creating all this problem, all this illusion that does not exist. So I think people should be able to just be who they are in a relationship. If a man meets a woman and the woman meets a man, they like each other, let them go all out and do whatever they want to do and be happy together, because this is all so trying to meet up to social expectation, how the Bible said it, how the Bible didn't say it, how things are constructed. It simply doesn't work. It's not the reality. It's not the reality.
That's why-
That boils down to value.
That boils down to values, and who defines the values? Who defines the values?
Why-
How
It's your own.
That's why she said that it depends on their values.
Yes.
For this to really be for this to really work, both of them have to have, you're right, completely right. Both of them have to have the same set of values for this to be real. You understand? So it depends on how, like you said, how they define sexual morality or immorality, right? So it's really on
You
the
can
belief
be in
system,
the word and not
right?
the
But I know she is coming from a Christian angle,
biblical
from Christian
perspective.
values. If that's where we're coming from, then sexual immorality, it's just you just have to wait. You just have to wait after marriage. However, if we have to be realistic, like you said, which I do agree with you, I think we have to be realistic in this part of the world at this stage. I know few girls that have problems finding their life partners because they have told their guys that they will not have sex before marriage. And these guys have gone out and slept with other people and that has broken the relationship.
Right.
If these guys have the same values that she have, or they attend the same church also, they will not have problem. They will not have problems.
You know, sometimes it becomes very difficult for somebody to accept certain excuses that, you know,
It's not an excuse, it's a
some people
value.
make. No, well, we don't know for sure. People say things that we cannot know for sure what the truth of that thing is. Whatever that I say, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that I say to you,
Yeah,
it is I and I alone
Yeah.
that knows if I'm telling you the truth or not.
Yeah.
And sometimes people find themselves in a position whereby it looks like things are looking awkward and the society is perceiving things about them differently. Now they come up with all these excuses that is because, you know, I don't want, this man wants so much, I'm not ready to give it to them, and that's the reason why I'm still single. So I think that, you know, sometimes it's difficult to really accept this kind of arguments.
I know someone. This person is in my family. He was going to get married to a woman. She has dated, but now she's not a believer. And she told my family member that she's abstinent now, that she wasn't going to do anything before the marriage. And he still got married to her.
When was that? What year?
13 years ago.
30 years ago.
Because he has the same values with her. So he's a Christian.
So
she's
they
a
probably
Christian.
knew each other. They had a background.
Yeah, they have the
grew
same
up in
That's
the
what I'm saying.
same, in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe they are of the same age. You know, those circumstances we can also put those circumstances into consideration. If it's just somebody out of a blue moon that I run into somewhere at the supermarket or at a wine bar, she's telling me that, you know, I have to get married to her. In the first case, you don't force marriage. You have to be in a relationship. It has to come out of a man. I have to propose to you. You don't tell me that I have to marry you. I think that's a little bit threatening, because when a woman begins to say, oh, I want marriage, when the expectation gets too high, it could actually scare a man away. And a woman also, when a man is coming up to you like he want to possess you and have you and marry you, and you're not in that frame of mind, that could also scare you away. So we want to be in a relationship, an open relationship, enjoying ourselves before getting married, and we are cohabiting. So the whole idea of
Do we all agree though that it's necessary to date before marriage? There's a reason why I'm asking that question, because it's gonna go back to this cohabit.
Of course, date. Yeah, of course when you date, of course you have to date before marriage.
All right, but they're living together. They may have sex, they may not have sex. To me, cohabitation, if the two of them agree that, okay, if I know what we can live together, and it's just that probability of it happening is very high, but they can still cohabit, they can still live together and not have sex.
But why live together? If you,
They can. If that's what they agree upon. If that's their
you
values.
see your partner every day. I mean, does it?
Well, you know, because
does
economic factors could make two people want to live together before getting married. Okay, we don't have enough money.
Okay.
Maybe we should live together and marriage.
Share the bills.
Share the bills together.
Yes.
You know, economic factors could actually make two people to live together before marriage. But
If they already have a financial situation like that, wouldn't it mean that they have to kind of not live together and go back and the man make himself ready to be able to take off a woman?
But I don't think
because this is a marriage you are coming into, you are already having a financial strain.
No, I said, you know,
So-
It's not necessarily a financial strain.
No.
If the two of them have agreed to get married, right?
coming together, when I say for economic factors, does not necessarily mean the man doesn't have enough.
Maybe
but
to save for
they
their
want to
wedding?
save.
They want to
They want to save. They want
some money to
to
save
live
it.
together.
So she
No.
can live in her family house, you live in your family house and save money.
What if her family is back home? What if her family is in Nigeria? She's the only one here. What if this family is in Nigeria is the only one here?
But she's been living on her own.
No, exactly.
That's right.
But
Why
that's
can't
just
they
the
come
point. That's just the point that I wanted to support with you. I'm not sure where you were going with your
together?
argument.
That's exactly where I was
that-
going with it.
Okay.
That's exactly I was going to bring another point up. Like one of the reasons why people do cohabit, that's for financial reasons. They have financial goals. They say, you know what? Now houses are very expensive. They can't actually buy a house together before marrying, even though they are not married yet. They can buy a house and say, you know what? Let's. I'm not saying I'm in support of it, but some people do it. They can buy a house and say, you know what? We can start our lives now. We don't need to wait until after marriage. The prices of house have dropped. Let's take advantage of this market. Let's buy a house. They can start living in the house. They can rent it out if they want. They can rent out the basement if they want, but they can be living together still. Now,
In that situation, I will encourage, depends on your culture, do a proper
Traditional wedding.
traditional wedding, propose,
Engage the lady.
and pay the bride price of the lady.
Exactly.
Go and ask the father hand in marriage, because the marriage has to be in process for you to be living together. There should be a recognition of a blessing. You don't need to do a big marriage.
Yeah.
You can do 5 people's wedding.
You know,
so many ways.
You understand?
Yeah.
Define marriage.
You don't need to stabilize your financial situation before you go.
To me, that marriage is already at risk of failing, because if there is no financial agreement, the man should be ready to get married, because women are only helper. You see, we are helper. The man is supposed to be ready.
now women are helping.
We are helper. We are not supposed to be the one to take care of the marriage. So to be a man and say, I want to marry this woman, you should know the meaning of marriage. Because this is how you can get so comfortable when you are living together. Because now you are saving money. There's already a strain.
It's not a strain. It's not a strain. It's a plan.
Better.
It's a plan. It's two people coming together and planning their
No,
future.
it's just, this is my values. I understand you guys.
Two people come together planning their future and saying, you know what, we all are here. We knew what happened to the housing market in the last couple of months, how ridiculous it is. And a lot of people were actually coming together to buy a house. 4, 5, 6 individuals come together to buy a place. A couple or a couple to be can also do the same. Come together and say, you know what, let's buy a place before we get married, or let's go rent a place before we get married. Instead of we having 2 different places, paying $900 there, $900 there, let's come together.
But what if you
disagree.
what if you eventually end up not getting married?
I disagree, because you can get married to this woman if you love her or you love
don't
him,
necessarily
and then you can walk your ways. You can build your life together. You don't need to leave and then buy a house.
Can I ask you a question?
Like personally, when I got married, we had nothing, but we built it together.
Let me ask
as
you a
we go
question.
along.
Let me
You
ask you a
can
question.
Do even cheap what do you call it?
But there's something very important that was
Engage.
There's something very
Traditional
important. There's
wedding.
something. There's something important that I also have to briefly focus. Because we're saying cohabiting before marriage, but we're forgetting that cohabiting might not necessarily lead to marriage.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I agree.
So then what happened?
Sorry?
So then what happened? Because this is easy.
Then
now.
you've given yourself
You've
to
given
a man,
yourself.
you've
You assume you are married.
everything.
And
And then that's why so many marriages, so many women,
I don't.
you leave them heartbroken, they're stranded. And then, hold on, excuse me, because you keep jumping from one man to another, and then at 32 years you are still single, 40 years you are still looking for a man. Do you think another man will come and marry you knowing that you are with Mr. B, Mr. C? You've been living together as husband and wife, and then something went wrong and decided to leave you. You are no longer brand new. You are an old.
It also depends on how long you live together. But the thing is that it doesn't matter if a man likes a woman, is going to marry her. It doesn't matter if she was married or she has children or she has cohabited. That does not stop it. That would not stop them from getting married.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But the point, what I was trying to say there is, it's good to cohabit, before getting married. And there's also risk of cohabiting before getting married, because
we've touched on different reasons to cohabitate before marriage, and I listen to what you guys are saying, and I respect your views. But to me, my values, biblically, when you are having an access, is as well as having adultery, according to what the Word of God is telling us. Until you are married, it doesn't. If you want to have the money before you get married, I actually say go back to work more, and come and ask your woman hand in marriage the right way. And this is my point of view because of my values. So, and Mr. Dario?
My point of view is that there's nothing wrong with cohabitation. That's my point of view. It depends on the two people involved. There must be mutual understanding. There must be set goals. There must be there must be objectives. They should understand that there are risks involved in cohabitation. However, I believe that dating today is partial cohabitation. People could date and you could go to somebody's house for a couple of days. That's still cohabitation. It's just not full-time. It's partial cohabitation. So I think cohabitation already exists, whether you're Christian or you're not a Christian. It's already in existence. It's just that some are partial, some are full-time. That's just the way it is. So I think it depends on the two people involved. But if I have to give an advice, I would say, as Vivian had said, sexual abstinence is always the best, because you don't know who you're dealing with at the end of the day, because I could be running around and do whatever I want. So you don't know who you're dealing with, so sexual abstinence is, if possible. However, we have to be realistic. This is the 21st century, and it's a very hard thing to do nowadays. That's my conclusion.
Thank you so much. And Patience?
Yeah, in conclusion, I think personally, it still boils down to value. I personally think it's not right to cohabit, to live together before marriage. I know I made some research in the past where a man said, you know what, because of so many things happening with girls lying and all that, they want to get married, they want to have the baby, live together, have sexual relationship in order to make sure that this lady can produce. It depends on where you're coming from, but my own is that I personally disagree. Don't stay together, don't live together before marriage.
Yeah. I think I agree with your view, that living together before marriage is not always the best, because it creates the opportunity for the relationship not to even go further at that point, because by the time you start living together, you become very comfortable and you let go of everything. And the man or the woman begins to see what or she really want to see and everything. I might decide, okay, I don't think I really want to go all the way with this person. So there's a risk to it, So I would say that it is better to live separately before getting married rather than living together before getting married.
Wow, this is interesting. How we all almost, I think we are agreeing on not cohabitating before marriage. I strongly agree. Like I said before, because of the values that I hold dearly to my heart, that there should be no living together and there should be abstinence before marriage. And to viewers out there, thank you for watching. You can like us on Facebook, Vivian Williams on Facebook, and on Instagram is _ Vivian Williams. We like your comments, we like your opinions. Follow us on Facebook, and again, we're keeping it real. This is Vivian Williams Show. Thank you.